The following audio is intended for mature audiences and contains adult content, graphic language, graphic violence, and strong sexual content. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome back to Fedora, everyone. My name is Tony. I am the Dungeon Master this evening. I am here with one of my regular players and our guest player, but I am here with who you guys know as Gnorbit, and then our new friend who goes by the name of Darmin in the series. So say hey, guys.
Hello, hello.
All right, so kind of give a little bit of a recap before we actually delve into where you guys are at. But last you guys left off, you were coming into a city and didn't quite know each other at the start, but ended up, being forced to go on this little mini adventure together by finding this giant tent in the middle of the city. And inside of the tent, you saw this small little trolley with the sign that says Allison's Funhouse. And you ended up going to this, and it turns out that it was a portal leading to a different dimension. Certain things happened along the way to where you had to answer a bunch of questions to a dead gnome and a faceless man. But the two of you specifically, the way you answered your questions led you to go and be basically forced into the red portal, whereas your other two friends were led into the blue portal. And that's where you are now. So I'm going to describe to you basically what you see as the two of you enter into this red portal, and then I want you guys to tell me what you do from here. The moment that the two of you step in through the red portal, you walk into not a brightly lit room. It's roughly about 50 by 50 in diameter. In the center of the room, you see something quite odd. There are what looks to be like two chains that hold up your hands for what looks to be like two separate individuals. There will be roughly two for, say, Gnorbit and two for Darmin in this specific scenario. In between these two chains, there sits an individual with their head down. You can't see their face currently, but they have not really long hair. You can roll a perception check here in a second if you would like to see if you can get some better detail as to who this individual might be. But they sit with their head down. They're not paying you any mind. It's almost like they're waiting for something. So, Gnorbit, I'm going to let you roll perception. And then, Darmin, I want you to roll perception with advantage.
Right, so while I'm doing that, one thing I want to do as Gnorbit is, you remember how I got the metallic shiny hand? I would like to grab that in one of my hands, doesn't matter which, both work, and basically pull my arm into my sleeve more so that the metallic hand looks like mine.
Okay, all right. So repeat that a little bit because I missed the first part. Did you say that you want to go grab the chain?
No. So you remember how I had the metallic shiny hand, yeah?
Yes.
So I want to grab that in one of my hands, whichever, and then roll that arm, like my sleeve a little bit so that the metal hand looks like my original hand. That type of deal.
Okay, I got you. Okay. All right, I see what you're doing now. I got you. Because of your ability, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to let you roll an Arcana check. And depending on what you roll, I'll tell you what special thing you might get with this.
I just want to
but while you're rolling that...
Fake arm.
Do I now?
I just want to use it to pretend I had a fake hand, basically.
If you roll really low, that's pretty much all that's going to happen.
I got an 18 on perception, by the way.
18. It would be helpful if I pulled up the chat with your rolls. 18 on perception. Okay. So you don't know who the individual is, but you can tell it's a woman. And I'll give you some very brief details as to what she looks like. But you can tell that she has long brown hair. You can't see her face any. Her face is like pointed down, almost like it's looking at the floor. But again, she's paying you no mind. But she does have long brown hair, and you can tell that it is a female. But Andrew, again, you can roll perception with advantage in this case. And then Norbit, go ahead and roll your Arcana check as well while he's doing that.
My Arcana was a 9.
A 9? Okay.
Yeah.
So while Andrew is rolling his perception check, your Arcana check basically wasn't high enough for it to really do anything right now. So basically exactly what you wanted to happen is that it looks like it's just like a fake hand. Right. Exactly the way you described it.
It just looks like it's my hand and my actual hand
basically, yeah. Nothing special.
Oh yeah, I got a plan for this.
Okay. All
I
right.
had chains and lockets, and I'm like, fake hand.
Right. All right. Andrew, what did you roll?
I have 20 for perception.
20? Perfect. This is your wife.
So I will rush right to her and just drop to my knees and try to catch her face in my hands.
Okay, the moment that you pull her head back and look at her, her eyes are completely solid white, and she has no recollection of who you even are.
Marigold.
Also, I will also say one other detail, and this is particularly strange to you. Think of her face in the same form as if Joker from Batman had gotten a hold of her. She's smiling in the most sinister way you could possibly think of. But she doesn't pay you any mind. She's not paying you any attention. Her eyes are crystal white, but she is smiling from ear to ear in the most creepy, sinister way possible. But it is your wife.
And you say that her arms are chained with manacles?
No,
correct?
she is not chained. She is just simply sitting in a chair. It's almost like that her hands are on her knees. Her feet are firmly pressed against the ground. She's not moving at all. All she's done since you've come into this portal is that she's been looking down at the floor until you came up to her and you pulled her head back, and that's what you see when you pull her head back.
Okay, so I will take notice of her eyes and her vacant, kind of not recognizing the expression. I want to take a quick scan around the room and cast Detect Magic and just see what I can ping as far as any sort of magical presence or artifact that might be doing this to her.
The chains themselves, that's what you get a ping on. You don't necessarily, it almost feels like that there's various types of magic connected to these chains, but you feel like that the source of whatever's happening to her is coming from these chains. And also, I will say that the moment that you cast Detect Magic, she responds immediately, but here's how she responds. She finally speaks, but she doesn't speak with the voice that you very well know her for her vocal tones. She speaks as if somebody else is speaking for her, but she looks at you directly and says, "In order to pass through, one must face their fears." And that's all she says.
I would like to, first of all, look at Darmin and then look around and be like, what the fuck is going on? You're holding someone in your hands who has crystal white eyes and that type of smile.
I don't know what's happened to her, but this is my wife, Marigold. Stand back. And so I will step back from her because you said that I'm sensing that the chains are the source of the magic, correct?
Yes. Everything in this room is fine except for the separate chains on either side of her specifically. It's almost like this room is designed to where that whoever comes into this room is supposed to attach themselves to the chains, and then something happens from that. but you also, with your detect magic, sense that that's also what's causing her to be in the state that she's in.
Great. I will throw 2 Eldritch Blasts at one of those chains and just start firing at it.
Okay, go ahead and make me a attack roll. You don't have to roll high, just roll high enough. I'm going to say that the DC for this is going to be DC of 8 in order to hit it.
First one is a 25, and the second one is a 9.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, you hit on both of them. Go ahead and roll damage, and then I'm going to tell you what happens when you shoot at the chains.
Can I roll another Arcana check while he's doing that on the hand?
Yes, you may. Let me see what Andrew's damage is.
With 2 Eldritch Blasts, it's a total of 16 points of damage.
16? Okay, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom save is 15.
Okay, you're going to take half of that. So when you shoot your Eldritch Blast at these chains, it almost like the Eldritch Blast rotates and turns and then shifts back in your direction and hits you directly and does half damage to you.
I will shake that off a little bit. Fun. And I'll throw 2 more Eldritch Blasts at it.
Okay. All right, go ahead and attack again.
Roll
Norbit, what was your Arcana check while he's rolling?
12, and I would also like to ask, is identify a cantrip level 1, level 2, what is it?
Okay, what was the cantrip you're trying to do?
No, I was asking is identify a cantrip a level 1 or a level 2?
I think identify is a level 1. Yeah, it's a level 1. So you'd have to spend a level 1 spell slot for identify.
I was wanting to know, but I also rolled a 12 on my Arcana.
Okay. So basically you got the same results that Darmin got. So the only thing magical in this entire room that you can pick up is the chains themselves.
So the hand has no properties now?
The hand does have a slight ping, but you don't know like what it does, but it's more like that the chains are blocking you from sensing anything else in this room.
I would like to use identify on the hand.
Identify on the hand? Okay. Let me read exactly how identify works because you may be able to do something else on top of this.
I'll get to the chains in due time.
Okay. So when you identify it, basically, I'm going to tell you that if you can mend it to your body, I'm going to give you a free level 1 spell that's not in your spell list.
I would like to do so.
Okay. I'm going to make you roll another Arcana check again. This was what you were rolling for the last time when you tried to use the hand before.
9.
Okay, you're not going to be able to do it right now. It's almost like the chains are blocking you from being able to do anything of that grand of a nature with your magic. What did you get, Andrew, on your roll with your Eldritch Blast?
The first blast was a natural 20 for 17 points of damage. The second blast was a 24 for 8 more points of damage, so 25 points of damage total.
Okay, so I'm going to say the one with the crit does manage to hit, but I'm going to make you roll a perception check for that one. And then the second one you rolled, I'm going to make you take half of that damage.
Do I get a wisdom save on that one?
You do get wisdom save on that one. So if you pass, you'll take half. If you do not pass, you'll take the full damage.
Gotcha. So my perception check is a 20 and my wisdom save is another nat 20.
Okay. You will take no damage for the wisdom save. So you just kind of like, you expect it to happen this time. So you kind of like do that sidestep thing where you dodge out of the way and it hits the wall behind you and just leaves like a burn mark on the wall. The perception, basically when it hit the chains, it had no effect on it.
So I'll sit there for a minute, look at that. Shit. And I'll walk forward and grab the chain and slap it onto my wrists.
Okay. Before I tell you what happens, Norbit, do you want to stop him before he chains himself up?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Okay. All right. So,
I'm going to go, whoa, little guy. No.
okay.
You do not want to do that.
Okay. So, I'm not going to make you roll for that. but I'm going to allow Darmin to respond however he wants to respond as you're stopping him.
I will push past and ignore him.
Okay. You're not going to be able to save him, Norbit, because he is a man on a mission, basically. So I'm going to tell you what you see Norbit as he chains himself up. And Andrew, you will also see the majority of this as well. All right. So the moment that you chain yourself up, the room starts to grow brighter. It keeps getting brighter and brighter and brighter until the point to where that you physically cannot keep your eyes open anymore. So you close them. You reopen them back up. Both of your worlds have now gone in black and white. Norbit, you're standing in the corner of a similar room of what you were just in, except on the left side of the wall, there looks to be like a window that you cannot see through. In the center is a table with 2 chairs. Darmin is sitting in one of the chairs, and then there's another individual sitting across from him. You don't know who this individual is, but I want you specifically, Norbit, to roll a perception check to get an idea of what he looks like.
Okay. Okay, there, I get it. 24.
Perfect. Okay, so you can tell just by his demeanor that he gives off the impressions of someone who used to be a paladin, but he's not dressed like a paladin. In fact, he's dressed in what you would think of as like an outfit that you would see like in a ball. So he's dressed fancy, pretty much. It's also weird that because of how high you rolled, that you notice that Darmin is not wearing his original attire either. He's wearing something similar to what the other individual across from him is wearing as well. They're wearing what looks to be like fancy attire. But you, on the other hand, you're still wearing everything that you were wearing the moment you walked into this portal. It's almost as if that neither one of them can see you, basically. But you can see everything that's going on. All right,
that's good. That's good. During that time, I'm also going to retry to mend that hand to me.
Okay. While you're rolling for that, Darmin, the figure across from you feels both familiar and unfamiliar to you at the same time. It feels familiar because it's almost as if this individual is somebody you worship specifically. It's almost like he is a physical representation of your Patreon. But he doesn't look like your Patreon, which is why that he feels unfamiliar to you. He has not said a word since you arrived here, but he looks at you. And you can see his face. Norbit was kind of a little bit too far away to see his face, but you can see his face. He looks like a human, but when you look into his irises are solid black. You get that sensation on the back of your neck where your hairs start to stand up, but you don't know why. But he hasn't said anything to you yet. Norbit, I'll go ahead and tell you, with your roll so that we can get back to Darmin, you basically mend that hand to your actual arm. You now know the spell Eldritch Blast.
Cool.
Okay.
Yep.
Darmin, what do you do?
I will look into those black eyes and just say, well, you look different than normal.
He gives this weird smirk as if he knows something you don't. He looks back at you and says, oh, so you were expecting him. I'm not him.
If you're not him, then who are you?
They call me the Master. I'm the one that runs this joint. Alice is the one that works for me. But before you do anything, I have a little surprise for you.
Well, I'm just dying in anticipation.
He looks at you and says that the Patreon you know is no more. So what you fear the most of how that you're afraid that you're going to have to pay your debts. That's not going to happen unless you don't hear me out.
I'm listening.
I have taken your Patreon's heart for my own. It belongs to me now. I hold your contract. In fact, I hold several contracts. I don't have just one heart, but many. He is just one of those few that I have. So I'm going to propose a little deal. Your wife is gone. She's dead. There's no coming back from that. Your daughter, however, is still alive. She's with Alice. Alice has this obsession over pretty things, to say the least. She likes to play with things that are better than her. So I'm going to make you a deal. I want you to kill that man in the corner. And also, when you get to them, I want you to kill the two individuals in the next room. If you do so, your contract is basically settled. You will owe me nothing. All the powers that you want shall be yours for all eternity. And you will get your daughter back, and all of this will be just a bad memory. However, if you do not agree to my terms, and you let these three individuals live, your daughter is mine. So what say you?
Why do you want them dead?
Why? Oh, that's because my friends don't particularly like them. So because of that, I'm obliging by their wants and desires by getting rid of them before they hold a problem later on.
DM, did you say if my hands were free or my hands bound?
You are completely free. Like, you can move however you want to move. All you're doing right now is you haven't really paid much attention to it because you haven't rolled like perception checks or anything. But the way that I described it to Norbit is that you're not wearing the attire you normally wear. It's almost like you're wearing a suit and tie, basically. And
Can I hear the conversation that just went on?
Yeah, you can hear the conversation. Plain as day. You hear everything.
Okay.
But the both of you are wearing what would be like very ornate, very fancy attire. Norbit is still wearing the same thing that he was wearing as he came in. However, he has not changed. The only one that has changed is you and the room itself.
If you want me to dispatch of that man in the corner, I'm not currently at full strength. I don't know that I would have what it takes to take care of him. Can you do a little wave of your hand and top me off?
Sure. You see him hold his hand out. He waves right in front of you. You're back at full HP.
Are my spell slots back?
Yes, sir.
And after he's done that, I'm going to say, because I heard the full conversation, I'm going to say this directly to Darmin. You said your wife was dead. Who was that in the other room?
Do I hear this?
Yes, you hear everything Norbit can say. Norbit, however, cannot move, and you do know this. You do not have to roll. Norbit has not noticed this at all, but you know immediately as you turn around that Norbit is unable to move. You can turn around and Norbit cannot see it, but you can. He's wrapped in chains made of magic.
Okay. So I'll push my chair back and stand up. I'll kind of crackle a little bit of eldritch energy in between my fingers, just kind of making sure that I'm feeling as good as he said I should be feeling at the moment. And I'll turn and walk towards Norbit.
Okay. Norbit, at this moment, I need you to roll me an insight check with advantage.
Alright. My insight is not bad. Oh, that is though. Oh, yeah, 11 was the best.
With an 11, I'll at least tell you what you see. As Darmin stands up and faces away from the individual across from him, you see that individual look at you and give the smirk as if what he just said was a complete lie.
Where's Pigeon during all this?
He's not there.
I thought he came through the portal with us.
He did. He did.
Alright, the Pigeon's just poof. Alright, so I'm gonna look to Darmin while he's crackling the lightning Eldritch magic-y thing between his fingers, and I'm gonna say, he's clearly lying. You've just seen your wife, who he just claimed to be dead. I'm not gonna try and roll a deception or anything like that, but I will try and roll a persuasion.
Okay.
17.
I'm going to let Darmin answer this.
I walk up closer to you, not like right up in your face, but, arm's length away. Friend, I don't even know your name. I don't hold anything against you. But I'm here for one reason alone. And I'm going to cast Phantasmal Force. I am casting it at the creature behind me.
Perfect.
Not at Norbit.
As you cast it and you turn around, he's not there. All you hear as you turn around is a sinister laugh, and it sends a chill down both of your spines. And he replies back and says, "Well done. You outsmarted me this time." And then you're back to the original room. The chains that were strapped around your wrist have dissipated, and they're no longer there. But the chains on the other side are still there.
Norbit comes in. Norbit would like to identify on the chains.
So the chains themselves show you your worst fear and make them come to life.
Do I learn a spell of that from Acacia?
No.
Well, I'm going to look at Darmin and just go, nice one for not fucking me up while I couldn't move. Second of all, I guess it's my turn to touch the chain.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do you touch the chain, Norbit?
Oh, I fucking jump in those fuckers.
Okay. The moment that the chains wrap around your wrist, something different happens with you. So it starts off where that it starts to grow brighter, but then it dims again, grows brighter and dims again. And it keeps repeating this process over and over again. Then you see the woman in the chair look up at you and says, "Oh, it seems you've lost your memory." She touches you, then the room grows bright, and it gets to the point to where that you cannot keep your eyes open. So you both shut them. You reopen your eyes. So, Darmin, I'm going to do the same thing that I did for Norbit with you and describe to you what you see first before Norbit gets his bit. Darmin, you're standing on an airship in the middle of a storm. You have no idea where you are. You just know that you're flying at full speed on a giant airship. It's grand. It's beautiful airship. You're standing at the helm. You're not driving it, but there is an individual next to you who is driving it who you do not know. You see down on the main deck that there are 3 individuals standing there. One of them is clearly Norbit. The other one is another individual who you do not know. They wield a warhammer, and they are summoning lightning as if it was natural to them. And then there's an individual in front of them who you can tell just briefly looks like a dark elf. But that's all you see. Norbit, you're standing on the main deck of the ship. Next to you is Chroma, looking straight ahead, not paying you any mind. The individual in front of you looks to be like a dark elf who is a hunter. They are fully cloaked. You can barely make out their face, just roughly. They have this sickling smile on their face. You watch as this individual takes off their bow off their back, takes off their robe, and then starts to twitch and move in these awkward ways. You start to see this dark elf shift into what looks to be like a half elf, half spider. Massive in size. Ginormous.
Okay. Alright.
Their face has also shifted. They have what looks to be like multiple eyes. They have these massive fangs coming out. It's, if you could imagine like a centaur, instead of the lower half being a horse, the lower half is a massive spider.
Oh, I've got a very good image of what you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah, but they shift into this form and they go to attack you. I need you to now roll initiative.
You fucker.
Darmin, I need you to roll initiative as well, please, good sir.
I got a sakes.
14 for Darmin.
Okay.
The only thing that could make that worse for Norbit is if it was also part slime, part door.
The mysterious individual got a 12.
What chroma got?
I'm about to roll as soon as I find the character got. There's up. So you go ahead and roll if you haven't already.
I got a 6.
You got a 6. Okay.
Yeah, really low.
Cool. There it is. Took me a minute to find it.
Well, while we was doing that, what are the things for Eldritch Blast?
I will let Darmin explain that to you because he is known for using Eldritch Blast while I pull this other stuff up right quick.
What level are you at?
He's
5.
level 5.
Okay, so you get 2 shots. It's a verbal somatic cantrip, 120-foot range. It's your proficiency plus spellcasting bonus for your hit, and it's as a D10 for each hit.
D10. Sounds good. I just read the basics down.
Just for later,
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and send you a link to the stats for it.
Yeah.
That way you'll know how it works.
Thank you.
Sir. All right. So that is one of the spells you will be able to cast now with you having attached that arm to your actual arm now. Normally you wouldn't have that ability, but because of what you did, you now have the access to that spell.
I thought he was going to do something different, to be honest.
No.
I don't ask me why, but because the hands made a portal, I was for some reason thinking I was going to be able to make a tiny portal.
No.
I've played too many games.
No. All right. So, I need a roll for Chroma. So, Darmin will go first, followed by the mysterious figure, then Chroma, then Norbit. So, Darmin, what would you like to do against this giant spider?
How far away is all of this happening from me?
From you, about 80 feet.
And do I find that I have control of myself? I'm able to move and everything?
You can move, yes.
All right, so I will crackle some energy and fire off 2 Eldritch Blasts towards it.
Perfect. Go ahead and roll to see if you hit. Please, good sir.
It's a 19 and a 15.
Both do hit.
It's 12 points of damage.
12? Okay. Get my calculator out. And is that all you're going to do?
So we're on this ship. Is there, like, depending on where I'm at, is there anything that I could potentially take cover behind? A box, a railing, something like that?
There is the railing that is within 5 feet in front of you that you can go and hide behind if you so wish. Yes.
I'll do that. I'll kind of duck underneath there. I'm a gnome, so I'm pretty small, and I'll use the railing kind of as maybe like half cover that I can shoot between down at everything.
Okay, are you going to use your invisibility thing that you have, or are you going to just keep it simple and roll stealth?
I believe it's an action to do one with shadows, so
Yeah,
I've already
that's right. Yeah,
I've
that's
already
right.
used my action for Eldritch Blast, so
I just
and I
seen
can't
it.
hide as a bonus action.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll just
just
crouch
saw
down. I know that I'm seen, but I've got some cover from the railing.
Okay. Go ahead and I will allow you to roll just a regular straight up stealth then to see how well you can hide behind that railing.
It's a 13.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you're hidden behind the railing pretty decently. It is dark out in the open because of the storm, so it doesn't take much to go and hide in the current area that you're in. Okay, so the spider is going to attack you, Norbit, specifically.
Yep.
And I'm gonna shoot a web at you and see if it can't trap you. That definitely does not hit. So it shoots a web out at you, and you kind of just sidestep it out of the way, and the web kind of just gets shot off into the wind because of how bad the storm is right now, and just flies off the ship. And I am going to... I can move if I want, but I do not want to do... I can't use that ability yet. Okay, so I'm just going to stay where I'm at currently and leave it that turn. So, Chroma is next. Chroma is going to cast... I want to say we're going to cast Chromatic Orb. And we're going to see if we hit it. Not. Okay, so you see Chroma shoot a bolt of lightning out of his hand, and the spider kind of just like sidesteps out of the way again like you did, and the bolt of lightning just shoots out and does nothing. Chroma is going to move back though, about 30 feet, and that will be the end of Chroma's turn. All right, so now Norbit, it's your turn, buddy. What do you do?
So, Norbit in this current state is like, holy fuck, that's a spider, like shitting himself because of the spider. But he's just seen everyone else attack, right? And like, he's seen the blast of, was it Eldridge that
you do have Eldritch Blast, yes.
No, Darmin used an Eldritch Blast to attack.
Yeah, Darmin also used Eldritch Blast, yes.
He's going to see that, he's going to see Chroma's failed attempt at smacking it, and he's going to run and try and attack you using his dual scythe.
Okay. Alright, so roll to see if you hit, please, sir.
Does a 16 hit?
Yes, it does.
Alright, let's see, I haven't done this in a while. 10 damage.
Okay. Alright, so you swing your dual scythe around and around your head, and you slice at the side of its body and leave a really nasty gash there. The mysterious figure looks at you and hisses at you, and it doesn't like what you just did. Darmin, back up to you.
2 more Eldritch Blasts go flying out towards it.
Yes, sir. See if you hit.
It's a 20 and an 18.
Both hit.
And that's another 6 points of damage.
Okay, awesome. Okay. All right, so is that going to be your turn?
Yeah, I'll stay put.
Okay, awesome.
I was on the move back because Norbit's terrified of the spider, so he's going to go his full distance he can.
So you are going to move back. How far back do you move? Because you can move to...
He's going to speed of 30, so a full 30.
You're going to move the full 30 back? Okay, perfect. You're back right next to Chroma again. All right. So the spider is going to use one of its special abilities, and I need Norbit to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
That is my 1d20 plus my Constitution, right?
Yes, sir.
24.
You pass. You're going to take half damage, and the damage is going to be 2d8 plus 4. If I can find another d8, that'd be helpful. Here we go. 2d8 plus 4. You're going to take 6 damage, Norbit. You see this mysterious spider figure open its mouth, and it spits out what looks to be like venom out of its mouth. And you kind of do that Matrix thing where like you bend backwards, but the acid just barely scrapes off the top of your chest and just leaves a burn mark, and that's where the 6 damage comes from. And then it lands on the deck and makes this massive hole into the deck. All right, so then it's going to be Chroma's turn. Chroma is going to... What can Chroma do? I'm going to do Lightning Lure. I have to succeed on a strength saving. Ooh, I do not. So I'm going to try to pull the individual towards me, and they're going to take 2d8 points of lightning damage. 9 damage from the lightning lure. You see Chroma basically like, it's almost like a lasso kind of effect where like he takes a bolt of lightning and uses it as a lasso, wraps it around the spider's legs and pulls on it, and it falls over. And I'm also going to say that the spider is now prone as well. Okay. Now I need everybody here to make a dexterity saving throw.
Wait, did you say everybody?
Yes, sir. Chroma fails.
Natural 1 for Darmin.
Natural 1. The spider fails.
Well, 22. That's
You
max.
crit? Okay. Okay. The ship starts to come apart. The storm is getting to where it's getting worse, and bits and pieces of the ship are flying off. So, Darmin, you're going to take... You said you got a critical fail, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
You're going to take 2d6 points of damage from a piece of flying debris. You're going to take 8 damage from a piece of flying debris from the ship. Norbit, you're standing steady. You're not going to take any damage at all. You almost feel familiar on this ship. Actually, I need you to roll me a insight check with advantage. And I will say that I will lower the DC because of your crit. And while you're doing that, I'm going to roll for damage against Chroma.
15.
15? Okay. You have a flashback. You're in what looks to be like a scrapyard in the middle of the desert. Chroma is there with you. The two of you are working on this ship. You're building it from scratch, basically. And both of you had just screwed up somewhere, and it was kind of funny because Chroma slipped in some oil, and you were laughing your ass off about it. So the two of you were just chuckling and cutting up. But you suddenly remember the name of the ship. And the ship's name is... Huh?
Boat face.
The ship's name is Deidre. Okay. But you suddenly have a flashback and you see all of that. You don't recognize right now where that location is at, but you did see the name of the ship and you remember that this ship belongs to you and Chroma.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So everybody has taken their damage, and what's going to happen now is at the end of each rounds, we're all going to take dexterity saving throws, and basically this ship is falling apart and will eventually crash in the middle of the sky at some point. But determining how bad you guys roll will determine how much damage you take before it finally sinks. All right, so back up to Darmin. Darmin, what do you do?
I'll throw 2 more Eldritch Blasts at the spider creature.
Yes, sir. Go ahead and roll to see if you hit.
First one's a natural 1, so that misses. The second one's just an 8.
Okay, both miss. So the storm is getting heavier and heavier, and you're shooting your Eldritch Blast, and it's getting more difficult to see. So you shoot at what you think might be the spider. Norbit, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw again, please.
Of course I do. Every time you have chance. I got a 7.
Okay, you're going to take the full damage. So, Andrew, I need you to roll Eldritch Blast damage for the critical fail.
It's just 1.
Just 1 damage?
Correct.
Okay, Norbit, you're going to take 1 point of damage from the Eldritch Blast.
I'm glad you was gentle.
Okay, so going back to the spider, I have to roll to see if I can get up.
Oh, I've got a plum for that spider.
I do get up, and I also crit on that. So I'm going to say that I will be able to not only get up, but I'm going to use spider climb, and I'm going to start making my way onto the side of the ship. And I'm going to roll stealth. See if I hide from you. Stealth damage. I do not. So
Good.
I come up and try to spit at you again. And I'm going to say, with as bad of a roll as I just got, that you completely just sidestep from the attack completely and take no damage whatsoever. Chroma does the same thing.
Perfect plan. You're going to love it, Tona.
Okay. It is Chroma's turn. And Chroma is going to... I'm going to save the rest of my spells for now. And I am going to throw my Warhammer at the individual and see if I hit. I do not. And now I have to see if I can catch it as it's coming back. I do. So you see Chroma throw his Warhammer like he normally does a Gnorbit, and it flies out, and the spider kind of ducks back down underneath the ship, and the Warhammer flies out and then stops, comes back, and the spider figure is still hiding, but it comes back and you see Chroma catch it again.
Yeah.
Alright, it's your turn.
I would like Norbit to. You have to tell me what rolls I need to do for this. But
Okay.
what I want Norbit is to run, grab the spider, and fully himself and the spider off the ship while screaming at the top of his lungs, "Get off of my shit!"
Okay. I am going to let you roll for this. I want you to roll me a strength check with advantage.
I got a crit.
Got a crit? Perfect. So you immediately pull the spider off the ship. Like, you just grab the individual's legs and then just yeet yourself off the boat. You hear behind you Chroma yelling and say, "No, wait!" And he runs after you, and he takes his hammer and swings it around and yeets himself off the ship as well and starts flying towards you to try to catch you. But the three of you fall down through the storm. Darmin, you see all of this. They completely disappear. Then the bright light happens again instantaneously. You're all back in the room again, and the chains disappear. Now, once the chains disappear, your wife lifts her head back up and says, "You have faced your fears. Now face the round table." You see a door behind her appear, and a sign above it says "The Round Table." Her eyes go from being a solid white to now being back to color again. But Darmin, I need you to roll me a insight check with advantage.
I would like to attempt something while that's going on.
Okay.
I would like to try and use Cure Wounds on Darmin's wife.
Your Cure Wounds has no effect.
I will share that information with Darmin. I will let him know I tried to heal her from whatever this is. She seems fine, there's no injuries, so that's good for you to do. So,
In response to that, I do need you to roll insight, Darmin.
I got a 4.
With advantage?
With advantage, I rolled 2 3s.
Ugh. Okay. You don't notice it. I'm going to allow Gnorbit to roll insight, but not with advantage.
Okay. What's my insight again? 5. Alright. 23.
As her pupils start to come back, you see in the center of her stomach that a wound starts to appear, and she's starting to bleed profusely, and there's no way to cure this. But she drops to the floor, And I will say that by the time that Norbit tries to finish curing her with cure wounds, that she lands on the floor, and Darmin, you start to see this large pool of blood everywhere.
So I will rush forward and kind of take her in my arms and begin to find the wound and try to press against it and stop the bleeding.
Okay. Roll me a medicine check. Just pure medicine check.
Natural 20.
Nat 20. Okay. I will say that with your nat 20, I will allow the effects of the cure wounds and your steady hands to help her and heal her back up. She looks to you and says that a dark, tall man tried to kill her and stabbed her several times and then cast something on her in order to put her into that state. But she does also look to you and say that she is feeling better. But Alice has your daughter and is doing horrendous things to her.
I'm going to get her back. I'm going to get her back.
Okay. I'm going to say that the moment that those words come out of your mouth, I need both of you to roll an Arcana check.
10.
15.
You catch it, Norbit. Darmin is too slow on his reaction. But you see what looks to be like an arcane hand come out of the floor, grab her, and pull her through the floor. And she's gone.
I was going to say something before that happened, but I didn't have chance.
Yeah.
Fuck. I was going to cast a magic shield on her.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and tell you, had you rolled a DC of 18, then I would have allowed you to respond to that, but you did not roll high enough for that. You just rolled high enough to see what happens. But you see what looks to be like this giant arcane hand come out of the floor, literally grab her and yeet her through the floor, and she completely disappears. You both hear a voice in your head. It's the voice of a woman. And she says, so how did you both like the torture room?
I'm going to respond very quickly. Fuck you.
I need you to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
16.
Okay. You're going to take half damage, but it's going to be 4d6 of psychic damage. No joke. All 4 dice were 6s.
Rip.
I'm going to take...
So, 12.
I'm going to take... Sir.
Still worth it.
But you feel like you just had the worst headache you've ever had. But Darmin, you also hear the voice as well. You heard it verbatim.
Just in my head, speaking back to the voice, I'm coming for you. And you're not going to like who I'm bringing.
You hear her laugh in this sinister laugh, and she's clapping with joy. And she's like, ooh, we get to play. That sounds so great. Looking forward to this. And then you see the door open, and the pathway that is there leading towards the round table room, there's a portal behind the door, and it leads to the next room.
Walk right through it.
While we're walking through, I'm going to look at Darmin and go, we might not know each other very much, but I know we both don't like that bitch. So let's go get your daughter, and let's go fuck her up.
I can get behind that.
Before Norbit walks through the door, however, she says one final thing to you. She says, it's funny how that he hates you so much for what you did back then. Do you respond?
Is that to...
That's to you.
Oh. Fuck off. That's my response.
That's your response?
That's my response every time. I don't like this bitch.
Okay. You walk through the portal as you both hear her sinister laugh continue to go on and on and on. And you both make your way to the next room. And that's where we'll end our session. Guys, thank you so much for listening in. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you again, Andrew, for joining in on this session for the Dirty 20 podcast. On our next episode, all 4 of my players will return back again, once again, together to join into the roundtable room before they go and see Alice and figure out what's going on. Tune in next time. We appreciate it. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your evening. And you guys want to say anything before we go?
Fuck off. Hello, my name's Ellis, otherwise known as Eli in the Discord of the Dirty 20 podcast. I play Norbit as well as one other character for a short time. And if you want to find me anywhere else, twitch.tv/LSCW. If you want to come hang out with me there. And I hope you enjoy the podcast.
In the southern wilds of the kingdom of Alson, 2 adventurers pick their way silently through the forest, eyes alert, hands ready on weapons, muscles tense. A sudden crashing of branches whips their heads around, where a charging troll bears down on them with a roar. With weapons at the ready, the hunters brace for the moment of impact. Hi everyone, I'm Andrew and I'm the Dungeon Master for The First Watch. The First Watch is a multi-camera, actual play D&D web series following a pair of monster hunters as they become embroiled in blood, mystery, and dark magics. The show features cinematic storytelling, original music and sound design, compelling characters, and more. Our first season is on YouTube in its entirety, ready for binging. For more information, you can find us on Twitter at First Watch Show, and watch or listen on YouTube or anywhere you get your podcasts. Let's roll initiative.